Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Welcome to Undercurrents of Change. In this video podcast, Mark and I explore what is really changing beneath the surface of business, leadership, and innovation. Not the headlines, not the hype, but the deeper shifts that shape how organizations actually work.
We talk to people who are in it, builders, entrepreneurs, thinkers, and practitioners who experience these changes firsthand. People who notice the signals early, feel the friction, and have to make real decisions in uncertain territory.
And today our focus is on human-centric tech futures and robotics and AI. AI and robotics is a topic most of us are thinking and worried about, and so it's really great to have a real expert on the podcast.
Yes, our guest today is Cristina Andersson. Cristina is an entrepreneur, consultant, and thought leader in many different fields. She has studied topics as diverse as sustainability, diplomacy, and quantum computing, and she is an advisor and expert to the Finnish and EU governments in policy around AI and robotics.
With Cristina, we are exploring the potential benefit of technology in healthcare, but also about the danger of losing control of our private data to big tech companies. We talk about the changes it is causing and possible future scenarios, both positive and negative. And some of it is a bit scary.
Yes, we delve into the changes we're seeing today with AI and robotics, what changes are different, and what's similar to past technological innovations. Cristina helps us understand what's happening and what's coming in the field of human-centered technology in a practical and very human way.
So let's dive beneath the surface again. So, hey, Cristina, welcome to our podcast, to the Undercurrents of Change. Wonderful that you wanted to be on the show. I've known you for quite a while, and as an expert and as a person, and so we're very, very honored to have you with us. Would you be so kind and introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you, Arne, and thank you, Mark. It's a very pleasure, and the honor is on my side. I'm happy and honored to be here, and I'm thanking you for the invitation. As you know, I'm a speaker, so I always love to hear my own voice. So I'm preparing for a speech tomorrow. There is a big healthcare festival here, Radical Health Festival in Helsinki now, in our fair center in Helsinki. And I have a speech there about 9:30. So I must wake up early and put some makeup and make myself ready. And I'm going to do it without PowerPoints. Think of that. Yes, I do it quite often because, But anyway, so I'm an educationalist from background, but I work a lot with things or issues like robotics and artificial intelligence. And I don't know, Arne, if you remember that 2012, we published, or Talentum here in Finland published the book Boho Business, which is about AI and robotics and, IoT and everything. So with Jari Kaivoja, we were very, early talking about this, what everybody's talking about now. So I have been following this development since 2010, I think, when EU Commission published the EU Robotics Week. And I saw that, okay, something is going on here. There are undercurrents that is not talking to people yet, but something is going on. And so I started to find out about robotics and what are their opportunities and also the risks. And I also, 2015, I got a robotics award from ABB. So I think my work has been noticed. But at the moment, then, there are so many things happening in the world, as we all know, in geopolitics and everything. So in the beginning of June last year, I thought that I want to learn something new, something that it would be new for me, out of the box, but also something that would help me to make sense of all it to me. So I started to take courses on diplomacy. So I took one, which was a short one, and it was very nice because there were these very diplomats with long careers and very with wise words. And I was listening to all this, and I thought that, okay, this is something I need to learn. I want to learn more. So I took another course, which was so interesting because it was made by an university in India. So it was totally another kind of perspective that we have here in Europe or in US. So Indian university, and they were talking about Qatar and how Qatar is kind of a joker card in geopolitics, when there is some opportunity. So they come up and say, hey, we could help. And, and this kind of stories. And then in September, I found out that, okay, now there is going on something that it's called technology diplomacy, which NVIDIA, Meta, and all these big tech companies, they are actually doing every day to grow their business and, find new customers, new markets, and get more space in the digital world. So now I'm studying, and Copilot kindly planned a learning program for me, which takes 1 year. So I made one of those courses, and the second one is going on. And I have to work so much because there is so many tasks, and it costs something also. These previous have been for free, but this one costs, and there is so much work to do, but it is all so enticing, so fantastic, and so interesting to find this new world. And I think when we talk about undercurrents, and I work with technology all the time, and quite specifically in healthcare, there are, quite a lot. So we need to also understand how can we promote these emerging technologies. It's not only about saying, oh, we have a good technology, buy it. No, it's not, because you have to explain, where does the tech come from? What does it mean? What is the impact? And where does the money come from? And these are very important questions. I try to find out.
So you are a person that is, when we talk about lifelong learning, or as actually, I think Anna Sten also talked about this a while ago with me. She mentioned this life-wide learning, this very curious about everything that's going on, but specifically around technology and robotics.
Continuous learning. And I think that, what I think, as I have background in education, so what I think is that if we don't understand what technology is emerging and what technology there is, we don't know what we need to learn. It's like nowadays, everybody needs at least know something about AI.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So that's because otherwise we don't know.
It's such an interesting journey that you've taken, and you've explained. Most people wouldn't put together someone who's like deeply into AI with diplomacy. And I know you've looked into sustainability, into entrepreneurship and business. You've taken all these courses that really it's just fascinating. And in that journey, one of the things we wanted to dive into is this idea of human-centered technology. And can you define that for us? What's your definition of that?
Yeah, it is so that when we design technology, when we design these solutions, we need to have different kind of humans planning and designing this technology, and also the users. Because if we don't do it, the one thing is that the technologies, they are becoming more and more autonomous. And if we allow them to be autonomous in a way that human is missing from the loop, then we are in trouble. So we need to design all these systems in a way that the human has a place. And even they are autonomous. This is interesting. For example, Utah, they have this sandbox experiment to have autonomous AI to renew drug prescriptions. So that is very interesting because, of course, for example, these prescriptions, renewing them takes a lot of time from healthcare professionals. So, but now there must be something. So it's good that it's sandbox. It's not spread
Yeah.
wide. So what the idea is, and it must be so that in this experiment, try to find what are the red flags that human comes in, enters the process. And this is human-centered means that the solutions and the services, software, AI, they must be for humans, by humans. And of course, there are processes which are machine to machine. And for example, some financial or whatever it is. But anyway, we must find those spots where humans can intervene. I think that it is, because we cannot deny that there are processes that run without humans.
Yeah. It's interesting because when you hear human-centered technology, most people, especially if you think of AI, for example, most people would not think of AI as being human-centered, right? I mean, because it's so mysterious to us now, it's like this, it's literally called artificial intelligence, which is, can be both creepy and fascinating at the same time. And so that term is in itself a little bit provocative. And as designers or people who are in the space of creating new stuff and solving problems through design, the process of design, it is innately a human thing to do. But so your definition is centered on the humans doing the design and using technology to serve humans, if I understand correctly.
Yes. Yeah. There was a very interesting tweet. I can't remember who was, but this person said in this X or tweet that the problem is not that AI is learning. The problem is that people who are using AI think they are learning. So, for example, if I am taking a course and they ask me something about, for example, diplomacy, so I give this question to AI and it gives me the answer and it looks, this looks great. Okay, I will copy paste it to my task book. And I think I have learned, but I haven't learned.
Yeah.
So human-centered also means that we humans have responsibility for our own learning and not outsource it to AI. Because if we do that, we become stupid. And then AI can take over.
Yeah. That's already happening without us really making an effort, I think, right?
It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and Mark and I had a discussion or a conversation about this the other day, in preparing for this podcast, about the idea of human-centeredness, the word itself. So, and in a way, human-centered AI, for instance, would be quite odd as a way, if you think about it, like, because AI doesn't have any. It's not centered. There is no centeredness to AI. There is no because it's dead. It doesn't have an opinion or a thought or a mission or a vision or anything. But in a way, I was thinking about it, that we talk about, as designers, we talk about human-centered design. And in a way, it's kind of the same. Like, design is not centered either. It is the people. It is the people that are doing it. And it sort of, I connect back to something you said a couple of years ago when you were at this conference I organized. You said, we have to become better people in order to create better technology. And I think that's although it's really difficult. So the first response I would have is like, yeah, good luck with that. That's not going to happen because it's really difficult. Because, look around you. It's, we have to become better people. But at the same time, that is the only way.
That is the only way.
Right.
When I think of healthcare, which I'm working in a European, quite a big project, actually, there are 8 European countries involved. And so when we think about the good thing, what artificial intelligence can do, and it will do, so that, for example, healthcare and preventive healthcare are becoming more and more individual. Because so far, when we talk, for example, human-centric services in healthcare, it means that there is this group of people which has diabetes, and so everybody in that group gets the same service or medication or whatever. And then there is this group that has problems with their hips. So all these people, millions of people, get the same. But now we can start to have them in the smaller groups first, and then individual, because even though two persons have the same disease, but they are different people anyway. They are individuals, and all these they have different genes, metabolics, and all this. So we can really finally find the real solution for that one person. And this, I think, is important. It is so fascinating because I think we can have better lives with the help of these kind of solutions.
Personalized healthcare.
Yeah. Yes. And truly personalized, not that there are these million persons, but there is this one person.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it means that, so we're looking into sort of what drives change, right? So there's something changing. It is both, I mean, the change obviously is both in the technology because it is evolving or improving or becoming more, whatever, smarter or what have you, but that also causes change. But it's also connected to the change in societies. So, we have an aging population. So there's more people we're getting older as well. Not just that there's more old people, but we're also getting older. And so we'll need more care, but there are not enough people to care for us when we get older. And then there's this technology that can actually help, with that. So that's in itself a really positive thing, right? So, and I think we can all see that as a positive. But at the same time, this individualism is also it's also something that's happening. It has been happening for decades, which is not a positive thing because that, and again, causes loneliness. And so if I think about my father who lives, he is in a wheelchair, he needs, 24/7 care, but there are never enough people to really take the time for him. So on the one hand, you say, okay, so there's technology that can maybe help with some of the tasks these nurses have, for instance. But the problem is that the organizations in general, I'm generalizing a little bit, but in general, organizations say, "Oh, this can It can help us with efficiency and cutting costs." So they will replace one of the nurses with a robot, for instance, instead of saying, "Actually, it's going to free the nurses to do more meaningful things and have conversations and have a cup of coffee with my father and talk to him and sit with him and say, how are you doing? And spend maybe even 20 minutes in a conversation with him, except for just a few minutes that they have to bring him coffee and then rush off because there's other things to do and there's only two people on the whole floor working, et cetera, et cetera." So where do you think, so it's getting very personal here. No, but it is very personal, right? So what is your thinking about this? Where are we going?
Yeah. First of all, you said individualism. It's not a good thing. No, it's not a good thing, but individual services are a good thing. So if you are very individual and very, very self-centered, so that is not, I don't mean that, and that is not good. But individual services to people who need individual services is a good thing. But then this is my normal rant almost every day is that we have these highly educated professional nurses, and they must, push some laundries or, whatever when they should be taking care of patients and be there and coach them for a surgery or, whatever. But we are putting money into walls and, stairways and halls and everything. But we need to have those nurses taking care. And there are enough nurses if we take technology in use. And now logistics robots, they can do their job autonomously. If you say that, okay, this robot must push the laundries to every room, it can do it. You don't need a nurse there. And it can go to the warehouse room and bring the sheets and put them in the bed and everything else. They can wash beds and they can bring all these, things that you need in the hospital. They can do all that logistics. And I'm cooperating with the biggest hospital in Finland. And we had a robotic session here a few weeks ago, and there was a nurse who said that we have a lot of these hallways, kilometers after kilometers of these
Hmm.
And why are we not using logistics robots? Why
Right.
do we? Yeah. So this is something I can't understand. And
Yeah.
one problem is that robot is seen as a procurement, not as investments that bring about well-being, more effective work, better workplaces, better care for patients.
Hmm.
So if you look at only as a procurement, and I say, okay, I have this robot that can free nurses from all this logistics work. So, this procurement officer says, how much does it cost? And I say, okay, it costs 100,000 euros. And they are like, no, too much, too much, too much. No, 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 no. And the nurses do the job. Even though, the return on investment comes quite quickly.
So this idea of humans and technology, right? And this goes back to the wheel, I guess, the original, the OG technology, right? So there's always been, when new technology comes out, there's always been a reaction, right?
Mhm.
In some cases, it's visceral reaction. So there are the steam engine, the automobile that have replaced the previous era with a new era. What are you seeing in this change that we're going through now with robotics and AI and artificial intelligence? I know you've talked about LLMs, but you've also talked about LBMs,
LBMs.
right? So behavior models, right? So the idea that the AI can detect your emotions and these types of things, and it has a behavior. What are you seeing that's different, or is there anything different in this era of change versus previous technology waves?
Well, I think as you said, every time that there is some new technology or solution coming, so there is always the opposition rises and says, okay, it's going to take our jobs. And this is the discussion comes all the time, all over and over again. So I think people are afraid that technology is going to, take their jobs. And when we look, for example, Amazon, so they are going to, was it 30,000 people will go out from Amazon or AWS?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and others, there are many. So this is really a big disruption, big transformation. And what should people do? They should start learning something that would give them, because their new jobs will
Yep.
come. And that
Yep.
has happened every time.
Exactly.
Every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Why would it be different now that everybody would just be, jobless there and do nothing and wait that somebody would call? No, it doesn't go like that. You learn something new and you find new jobs. And of course, there is Elon Musk and everybody who is saying that people in the future, nobody's doing anything because there is so much abundance created by technologies that we don't need to do anything anymore because they create wealth. But I can believe that it can happen to some of the people, but not everybody. There are some of us that need to keep on working.
Yeah, unfortunately. I would like Elon Musk to kind of just give me some money and then I just can do nothing. That's fine.
Yeah, the Elon pensions.
the Elon pension. Yeah, that's a great idea.
As an American, I don't recommend it.
Okay.
Okay. Man. Oh, man.
Okay, there was this opposition again rising.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, boy. Well, yeah. Well, the thing is that I think our relationship to work will change. It has always been changing as well.
It has always been changing.
Right. But that's a different topic where we go, what is a job really? What is work? And why do we work? And why are there companies? And what's the point of it? And is it... And that's going to be so much different, that conversation. You just mentioned, going, for instance, to India, and there's a whole different kind of way of looking at things. And, we look at things in a certain way in the West. Someone actually a couple of days ago said to me, the West, and it depends on where you are. You're like, that's true. So, we're not the West everywhere, and other people. Anyway, it's complicated. There are different realities, there are different truths, but it is interesting to see how we deal with this kind of change. And there's so much going on at the same time. Sometimes it feels like it's really chaotic or scary, or because we don't feel we have control over it, or we feel we are being controlled by, what is it, 5 big companies or something like that. And I'm not like looking at you, Mark, but
We call them the Magnificent Seven over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like NHL.
Yeah, it's something that Wall Street they like to have a little thing, the Magnificent Seven.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. Okay. Well, those people,
Those guys. Yeah.
those guys, all guys, I guess, yeah. Which is okay. So, so that feels like we're heading in the wrong direction. So, yeah, thinking about this when we look at the future, if you look at what is happening and the way we deal with this change, so it's not just about is AI going to be smarter or what have you, but and maybe you can relate to this to healthcare or maybe more to society at large. But sort of where are we going if you think about future trends and technology and human centeredness, and where do you think we are going?
At least I hope that we could find this real human centeredness and not think that having nurses push those laundry cages and those in hospitals would be human-centered. We are not using robots because we want to be human-centered and have nurses take care of this. This is reality. But what I'm worried about at the moment, I'm most worried about that our behavior data is flowing to United States. I'm sorry, Mark, but we are so depending in.
No, for sure.
Yeah, and this is very worrying because we don't know what will be done with our behavior data. And this, with help of these large behavior models and behavioral GPTs and AIs and so forth, so there is the possibility that they can identify individuals based on their tapping rhythm on their computers, whatever. And when they can do this, then they can start to manipulate people. And this is something that I'm so worried about. And there is, in Europe, we have the EU AI Act, but it doesn't actually tackle this that well. What I'm thinking, I'm hoping that we could have some kind of software or something that would disable the computers to transmit the behavioral data out of that computer or phone or other devices. So that's what I'm worrying. And I think that is because we don't know if it's going on or not. So we must do something. And that is because when LLM came, the ChatGPTs and so forth, so we could use them and everybody loved them. Okay, it can give me answers, but this is something that is there hidden in the undercurrents.
Yeah.
And we don't know if somebody is, using it. And there are already. It has started from robotics, and Toyota Research is together with DARPA. They are the foregoers in this, but they teach robots from behaviors. But then it comes to, when we start to affect human behavior. So that's really the wrong thing. When we think about elections, we think about democracy. In preventive healthcare, it can be a good thing, of course. It can see that, okay, I'm going to the fridge and bring me some sausages and beer, so it can intervene and say, I know where you're going. Don't do that. But that's the positive side.
And so I hear you talking about privacy, which is a big deal as an undercurrent for sure. And that's been with us since the internet and certainly before that, but it became, GDPR was created specifically to protect people's privacy in the European Union. Are there other undercurrents you're seeing beyond the privacy thing, which is super creepy for everybody, but that is related to this tension between humans and technology?
Yeah, I think these large behavior models, they are, more than just privacy things. So if there is something other that I'm seeing undercurrent, so I don't know. I think it has to do with geopolitics, that every company must understand something about geopolitics, because the choice of technology is also choosing something else, like whose side you are taking, or what is this technology doing to your country or to EU, as we are in Europe now with Arne. So this is something that somehow everybody needs to understand enough, that when they are buying these technology solutions, that what are they actually buying?
Is that something you see people also do? Or, I mean, so as an example, I've been seeing posts about alternatives to, for instance, American tech companies. So, you could use another platform, which is a French platform, or which is a German platform.
Yeah.
So is that, to me, I mean, I think I've seen it because I probably clicked on a post and then the algorithm says, and then I think it's a trend. But maybe it's just me, but is that something you see happening?
Yes, and I think the city of Copenhagen and Aarhus, they are now trying to give up Microsoft and find another solution. And I hope there are European solutions. There are some, but this Microsoft and all this, they have become so good and so practical that it's very difficult to just lose them. But there is this member of European Parliament, she's Finn Aura Salla, and in every speech she said that give up Microsoft, stop using Microsoft. And there is one thing which is worrying me: the elections data is now sold to Amazon AWS platform. And that is worrying me, because what is the most precious data is our election democracy data. We shouldn't sell it, but the Finnish government did it. I hope they can take it back somehow. That there must be this idea of sovereignty in those things that really matter. And at the moment, it looks like that the American tech companies, as good as they are, but there are risks. And maybe you might do something about that.
Well, and it's interesting. In some ways, if you think about it, we're old enough to remember the good old days, right? Where, I think when there was this sort of moment or period of kind of tech euphoria, where if you remember back to, we're old enough to remember the internet and the first emails and the first World Wide Web stuff. And then in some ways, if you think about Facebook, and we talked before the recording, like, I'm not on Facebook and it doesn't sound like we use it when we have to, kind of thing. But there was this time when Facebook was awesome, right? It was just like, oh my gosh, we can see what our friends that we haven't seen in years are doing, and we can keep in touch with our family, and it's just wonderful. And then it just becomes evil, right? In some ways, right? Like even Google, like do no evil was their motto or tagline at the beginning. So I as an undercurrent, what's interesting is, and maybe it's not surprising at all, is that technology gets leveraged by the most powerful. And that inevitably leads to things that aren't human-centered, right? Microsoft, to your point, is really good at what it does, right? Slack is really good at what it does. Zoom is really good at what it does. All of these tools that we use, but unfortunately, certainly geopolitics is part of it, but just power and power dynamics, which have become even more scary in some ways, because the power is being concentrated in fewer and fewer hands, and there's no democratic process in a way to have any control over that other than our votes, which as you said, are precious data.
Exactly. Yeah, it is like that. Well, I was watching a picture. There was some prince from Saudi Arabia was visiting the White House, and there was this prince, and there was Trump, and there are all these people, and there was Jensen Huang from NVIDIA. So this is, I'm thinking that NVIDIA, which is the most valuable company in the entire world now, would it become that valuable without having these relationships with the White House? Because then they can assure that they get all the deals that are necessary for their growth.
So we could go off into like outer space of political dialogue here, but the undercurrent that we're identifying is something to do with geopolitics and its association with human-centered technology. Yeah,
it has, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take away this White House part, but this is really because I don't know. I think it works like that in Finland too. The companies, they have good relations, good PR people with the officials and public servants and ministries and so forth. And so they get these deals because they do the lobbying.
Hasn't it been like that forever? If you
I think it's getting stronger now.
Again, but it has been. I mean, it's throughout history that has been, the thing.
Yeah, of course.
If you are a friend of the king, then you'll do well. And so, but so anyway, it's interesting because it's happening and we all see it, and it's important because it's happening. And whatever opinion you have, it's still good to kind of see it happening, whether you agree with it or not. You might go like, yeah, great, it's awesome because that's how it should work. Fine. But just identifying that is happening and that has an effect and it's going to have an effect on what's going to happen next in the future. So I don't know. It is again, you can get really worried about these things or not, but I think that predicting the future, it has always been very difficult, if not impossible. And it seems that every day something new is happening. And, we talk about geopolitics, but, especially then you're like, tomorrow is going to be different again. And it has an effect on us. But if you would look at a positive scenario, what would be a positive scenario for you? What would you like to see?
Yeah, I think this is about that every human being can get the support, care, and education that they need. This is, and for example, preventive healthcare, that there is more well-being on this earth. And because there are more and more systems that can, for example, see our biomarkers also for dementia or anxiety or these kind of things, that we could intervene in a good time and have people living good life as long as possible. As you said, Europe and other countries too are getting older. So we need to take care. These are people we love. And in Finland, it is in 2040, 10% of our population are over 80 years old. And these are people we love. They are people who have built this country. And we need to find solutions, and technology is a part of that solution, that we can take care of these people so that they can have good lives, and we can have good lives as long as we live. This is something that we can do with the help of technology. I think this it should be a worldwide vision for everyone on this globe.
Yeah. That's a wonderful way of putting it. And I think that's the intent behind most, if we go back to your studying entrepreneurship and all your experience in helping startups and those kind of things. I mean, most of the inherent dreams that entrepreneurs have, that creators have, are positive. And that's where we need to keep it human-centered, right? I think it's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Cristina. One last question. If you could go back 5 years and speak to yourself, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
5 years ago, it was the beginning of COVID.
You could look at it that way for sure. Yes.
Yeah, I would say to myself that, look, in spite what happens, good or bad, you always have your life. And you step on the path you have started, and you can see around you if there are opportunities to learn, but go on all the time. Don't stop, but rest if you must. But I have a question for you. You don't need to put it in your podcast, but if you were to lobby for something, what would you lobby for? Both of you answer.
Ooh, I love it when our guest asks us a question. I think that's fantastic. You want to go, Arne? What would you lobby for?
I would lobby. I think there's many things. If I had the
But you don't have that
opportunity.
much time.
I'll choose one. I already chose one topic. I think it would be education.
Okay.
I would lobby for changing education dramatically, and that'd be my lobby, because I think that what we're teaching and the way we are teaching is preparing kids for a world that's no longer there, and we need to teach them creativity and critical thinking, and not memorizing things that we, of course it's good to train your memory, but not senselessly and without any purpose. So I think changing, I'll go for education.
Yeah, good course. Good course.
I'm going to be a little bit American centric if I can. Today is Martin Luther King Day in the United States. It's a national holiday, and I would lobby for a department of love. And that sounds, we don't talk about love in business context, but we need more love in the world, right? We need to recognize the power of caring for other people and being loving. And it's what you do in the healthcare field. It's very close to, as you said, the people who are over 80 are elders. There was a time when elders were respected and loved until their last days. And unfortunately, I feel like that's getting away from us. And I think we need more love in the world. So there you go. That would be
good causes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Cristina, so much for your time today. It was a wonderful conversation.
You. And have a nice evening, Arne. And what time is it, Mark, in your...
It's in the morning here. Yeah.
Okay. Have a good day.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Cristina.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.